What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into Week 8. It is early bets, survivor picks, and plays to make right now. He is Pat Fitzmaurice. I am Matt Perrault. We are on the Betting Pros YouTube channel as we are each and every Tuesday afternoon. Pat, good to see you. Week 8, an interesting week for sure. I don't know if I'm in a survivor pool and I've made it to Week 8. I am very concerned. This is going to be a very hard week. How are you?
I'm good, Matt. Thanks. Yeah, there are options though this week, and considering that there's 6 teams on bye, there are more options than maybe I would have expected. So, not a bad thing if you made it this far. You're not sort of blocked out, maybe with some earlier picks, because there are, I think, 4 or 5 plausible possibilities.
So we have no international game this week. We do not have 2 games on Monday night this week, and the Cardinals, Lions, Jaguars, Rams, Raiders, and Seahawks are all off the board for buys this week. So let's get into it. First play for you that you like for this week here on Tuesday is who?
I'm backing the New York Jets this week.
Oh.
Matt. And yeah, so right away, that's going to get some people's attention and have them wanting to commit me. If I'm getting 6.5 points against the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals, I'm taking it pretty much no matter the opponent. And I know Joe Flacco has jump-started the Cincinnati offense, but this feels like a major overreaction to the Bengals' Thursday night win over the Steelers last week. That game really could have gone either way, and let's face it, a win over the Steelers isn't all that impressive these days. In fact, Matt, the Steelers barely beat the New York Jets in Week 1. Steelers won that game 34-32. The Jets actually outrank the Bengals in overall DVOA. The Jets are 27th, the Bengals are 29th. Bengals defense ranks dead last in DVOA. The Jets might have a sneaky special teams advantage here. That's one area where they've been pretty good. They rank 3rd in special teams DVOA, the Bengals 21st. Yes, Joe Flacco does look like a big upgraded quarterback over Jake Browning, but what does late career Joe Flacco always do eventually? He starts throwing interceptions in bunches. And that's why I love getting these points, Matt, against a Joe Flacco-led team. There's absolutely a chance that he could set up the Jets with a short field a couple of times, or maybe throw a pick 6. And I think the Jets are going to make a quarterback change this week. They haven't announced it as of our recording the show on Tuesday morning, but the guess here is that Tyrod Taylor is going to start in place of Justin Fields, and that's probably a good thing.
I want 7. If I'm going to take this bet, I want 7.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm not putting this down now. I do want to get that extra half point.
Yeah, I want 7. I want to fade the public. I think you're right with the read that this is an overreaction to what the Bengals did. And I think people are going to say the Jets are dead. They're 0-7. They might be dead. That's my only worry is that this team, they're playing for a first-year head coach. It's difficult to see the Jets firing Aaron Glenn either mid-season or even after the first year, because it would be an admission that they made a massive mistake with the decision to hire him to begin with. So there's a lot of people whose jobs are on the line, not just Aaron Glenn's job, but people in the brass all the way up, to the owner for that matter, to say, okay, we signed off on the hiring of this guy and we made the wrong decision. So that's a worry. But I think you're right about the team with their backs against the wall. I like Tyrod Taylor personally more than Justin Fields, so I like the opportunity to play Tyrod Taylor here. I don't like the Bengals defense at all. They've been banged up on top of that. So if I get 7, I think 7 could be the ceiling, but if we get 7, I'm with you. I think that is too many points to come in and take it, and it's just one of those hold your nose type of games in the NFL where if you're at the bar and you say, I'm on the Jets, everyone looks at you and go, what, you're on the Jets? And at the end of the day, at about 4:30 Eastern time, you go, see, 24-21, and you cover. So I'm with you. I like it. My first play is, and I think you and I both are on this pretty heavily here with the Falcons, and what they're going to do here, and why I like 7 again. I don't want to lay more than 7 points here. So we talk about bets to get in on early. This is the play that I would talk about getting in on early with the Falcons at home against Miami. The number is 7, but it is creeping up here at the time of taping. Some books have moved to 7.5. Look, Mike McDaniel is going to be the next coach fired in the NFL. It's just a matter of when do the Dolphins make the decision to remove him? Do they wait till after the year is over? A lot of people in Miami that I've been talking to and listening to have been saying, look, there's no point in firing him now. It's a lost season. Tua's contract's a major problem. Nothing's going to get better. Hill is hurt for the year. Just let him sit there and just, ride out the season and then fire him. And if that's the case, fade them the rest of the year, because the entire team knows that they are completely dead in the water. And frankly, the Falcons are a much better football team at home. When they play at home, they can beat almost anybody in the NFL. They can lose to almost anybody on the road. I'll lay the 7 with the Falcons, and hopefully Michael Penix does not throw picks in this game, but I like Atlanta. You?
I'm with you. I don't see any way that the Dolphins keep this one close, really. Well, they have no chance to win. I suppose they could keep it close or force their way through the back door at the end of the game. But
right.
Tua was awful against the Browns on Sunday. He just, I know the weather conditions were bad, but that was an abominable performance. Yeah. And this offense seems broken. The defense hasn't been able to stop anyone. Running the ball, passing the ball, doesn't matter. You can cut through the Dolphins defense like a hot knife through butter, pretty much. And when you've got Bijan Robinson and Drake London, that's gonna help Michael Penix Jr. considerably. So yeah, I think this one is a pretty easy call.
Game number 2 for you that you like. I like this bet. I might be on this come Sunday. Where are you for your second play for the week?
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys plus 4.5 at Denver. So I don't love betting against the Denver Broncos in Denver, but the Dallas offense, Matt, just firing on all cylinders. The Denver offense, meanwhile, has been struggling other than in the fourth quarter, that crazy comeback win against the Giants on Sunday. And if you're going to give me 4.5 points with a team that's scored 40, 37, 27, and 44 points over its last 4 games, why, yes, thank you. I'll take those points. And Denver's defense is really good. This is a strength versus strength matchup, but it's also kind of a weakness versus weakness matchup on the other side of the ball. Over his last 3 games, Bo Nix is averaging 5.8 yards per pass attempt and completing under 60% of his passes. And the Broncos only scored 13 points against the Jets a couple of weeks ago in London, and they were sitting at 0 points at the start of the fourth quarter against the Giants before they stomped on the accelerator. So, and by the way, Matt, in this game, I want to see Brandon Aubrey kick a 70-yard field goal. Like, he should be able to break the field goal record in this game at altitude, don't we think? The record is 66 yards. I'll bet Aubrey could make one from 70 in Denver.
I mean, I think they'll give him a chance to do so if he wants to do so. I don't know what Tom Brady's on comparing him to Shohei Ohtani. I think that was a little bit of a reach from Brady. Maybe the Botox is seeking into his brain. I was like, Tom, what are you talking about? Like, what are we doing? Like, I love Brandon Aubrey. He's not Shohei Ohtani. Like, what? Okay, he's a kicker. Okay, he's the best kicker in the game. He's an awesome weapon for the Cowboys to have. He's an awesome weapon for the offense for the Cowboys, but the defense is still the major problem for the Dallas Cowboys, and it's why they're dogs to Denver. And look, Denver had one of the craziest comebacks in the history of the NFL, scoring 33 points in the second half and beating the Giants, and now they get to be at home and hear all about the congratulations and everything else. And I feel like they're not going to remember that they played like dirt for the first 3 quarters of that game and they couldn't do anything. And I'm not saying the Cowboys defense is anywhere near the Giants defense, but I don't like Bo Nix. And I'm very concerned about Bo Nix and the way Bo Nix is playing. The defense for the Giants, they basically went into a shell. They stopped rushing the quarterback, and they gave Bo Nix a ton of time, and thus the result was throwing the ball down the field and getting big chunk yardage. I think Dak's going to be able to throw on this defense for the Broncos, but I'm more concerned about the Broncos offense as to what they're going to look like here in this game. So I'm with you. I like the dog at plus 4.5. I will see how many points we can wind up getting with the public driving that number potentially up. My second bet is the game I'm the most excited to watch, to be quite honest. I can't wait to see this. The Green Bay Packers on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the Aaron Rodgers revenge game of revenge games here, and I have Mike Tomlin at home as a dog. When you give me 3.5 points with Mike Tomlin at home, I'm going to take it. Now, how many points we wind up getting? I think this number is going to be 3. I don't think this number goes higher. I don't think we see 4. I think it's going to land 3 and stay at 3. So if I get 3.5 here on Tuesday, I'm comfortable jumping on it right now for the Steelers at home. I know the defense has been somewhat questionable, but this is the point in the year, and you as a Packer fan can kind of back me up on this. We get closer to Halloween, and things start to get a little bit ghoulish for the Green Bay Packers under Matt LaFleur. Like, they're awesome in September. They're awesome in early October. And as we get later into the month of October, things start to go a little bit sideways. So I like the Green Bay Packers. Sorry, I like the Steelers against the Packers. Back-to-back road trips for the Packers. I tend to fade teams on that second leg of a road trip in the NFL, even though, well, that was a home game basically in Arizona for the Packers last week. There were so many Packer fans there. But where are you and your Packers on the road against the Steelers?
So I like all of your points here. I agree with everything you said. In the pools where I have to pick a game against the number, I am probably going to take the Steelers. I don't think I'm going to bet this game. And the only thing that kind of scares me here, Matt, is that the Packers haven't really thrown a good punch since week 2. And we know they're capable of it. I mean, they blew the Lions' doors off in week 1, and turns out the Lions are pretty good. And they beat the Commanders handily when the Commanders were sort of at full capacity with Jaden Daniels. So 2 really good games to start. And ever since then, they have been pretty unimpressive and played around with teams that it seemed like they should handle pretty easily, as we saw last week in Arizona. I just wonder if this is the game that has their full attention, and maybe we see sort of the full force of what the Packers could be, because I do think this is a Super Bowl caliber team. They just haven't played like it for several weeks. And I wonder if that team might eventually show up. And, it does seem like a good spot to fade them. They've been very fadeable in recent weeks. I just wonder if maybe this is the game where they let loose.
I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be fun. It's more of a numbers play. I mean, Packers win by 3, take the hook, and you wind up covering on that. So I think if it's 3, I don't really think I would make this play. The hook is what I like with the 3.5 at home for the Steelers. So if your book is at 3, I wouldn't play it, or you can buy it up, but that's pretty expensive to buy it off of 3. So I think the number is what matters at 3.5 here. And I think there could be, to your point, there could be a public narrative of like, oh, Green Bay on the road against Mike Tomlin as a dog, automatic play. And then also, well, it's Rodgers up against the Packers. So of course he's going to come out and play really well and have an awesome game. Maybe. This offense for the Steelers needs to find a way to run the football. Like, if they can't run the ball, they're not going anywhere. I don't care what the division looks like. When they get to the playoffs, they're not going to be going anywhere if they can't establish the run. The third and final game, we haven't done this in a bit. Me versus you. We're on opposite sides of the same game here. I like the Niners. You like the Texans. I'll let you go first. Why Houston?
Yeah, and as a caveat, historically, fade me in these Fitzmaurice versus Perrault battles. Perrault usually comes out ahead in these. So I just love the spot here, Matt. We've got a team that's probably pretty content after a fairly convincing nationally televised win on Sunday night over the Falcons, going on the road to face a pretty good team coming off a frustrating nationally televised loss. The Texans did not play a very good game in Seattle Monday night. And the pretty good team coming off the loss as a home dog. Like, I like that spot. I know the Texans offense is shaky. The offensive line stinks. They struggle to run the ball. And it's possible the Texans won't have star receiver Nico Collins, who left Monday night's game with a concussion. But the Texans defense is no joke. Like, D'Amico Ryan's team is really tough on that side of the ball. Texans also have a big special teams edge here. Their special teams rank 7th in DVOA, the 49ers 29th. And the 49ers are a beaten up team, Matt. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner, the 2 biggest stars on this defense gone. So I think this one could be a little bit of a rock fight. I want to take the Texans at home as a dog.
Yeah, rock fight's true. And there is some discrepancy in the market because you can take the Texans at +1.5, but there's also pick 'em in the market as well. So we have, obviously, it's Tuesday. So this is one of those games where there's going to be differentiating opinions by the professionals, and it's going to move the numbers around here, pretty quickly until we actually settle on what the number will be. At the time of kick, it wouldn't surprise me if the Texans are favored by the time we get to kickoff. However, I will push back on the lie that the Texans are a good football team because I can't. They're 2-4, and their wins are against the Titans and the Ravens. I can't call this team a good team with 4 losses against any. I mean, they lost to the Jaguars. I mean, they haven't beaten anybody of consequence in my mind. This offense has taken a gigantic step backwards, and it continues to do so with C.J. Stroud, who, everybody thought this was going to be. The AFC was his. He was going to be him and Mahomes, and he was going to be in the same category as Josh Allen. And we haven't seen it for the last year and a half. And yes, they've got some good weapons, but without this Tank Dell, Nico Collins trio that we saw, now almost over a year ago, where we saw that offense really playing well. Since these injuries have happened, they haven't run the ball. They haven't been able to find other wideouts to throw the ball to, and the offense just keeps on going in reverse. I'm with you on the under. I think the under is also a good play in this game because I don't think we see a lot of offense, but the Niners have just found a way to win football games. It doesn't make any sense how they're 5-2, but they're 3-1 on the road. Like they're going on the road a lot, and they're winning these football games. Maybe it's smoke and mirrors, but until I'm proven wrong, I like what the Niners are able to do with Christian McCaffrey in this offense. And Mac Jones has been a guy that you could legitimately say deserves to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers for the rest of the season, given the way he has played. I know they're paying Brock Purdy a ton of money, but I mean, this is a team that you win 20-10 at home against the Falcons, and they're a different team, like we talked about. The Falcons at home are a better football team, but I like the Niners. I like them on the road. They're road warriors. And if I get a pick and I'm going to lay points, just take them to win the football game. I like San Francisco. I think the rock fight angle is right. I think last 20-10, 2017, somewhere in that range from a football game, from a score perspective. But I like this Niners team. I don't love Mac Jones, but the guy's just winning, Pat. He's not losing football games.
Yeah, we could see Purdy this week. Do you like the 49ers less if it's Brock Purdy coming back?
Yeah. I mean, it worries me just a little bit, but I'm not sure how big of a difference there is between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones. They might be very similar in terms of just productivity and where this team is. It is a difficult thing. It's surprising that the team would make a move on the road to put Purdy back in coming off of a home win. But there may be some pressure from upstairs, like, hey, look, we're paying this guy a lot of money. He needs to be the starting quarterback. So, like, Mac Jones will get his money somewhere else and play somewhere else. Or maybe you trade Brock Purdy in the offseason if somebody wants him. But I understand a fired up Brock Purdy, I'm okay with it because his job's on the line. Yep. So when he comes back, he needs to play his tail off or he may not see the field again. So they can't go to the Texans with Purdy and lose, because if that happens, the next week on the road to the Giants, you very well might see Mac Jones back in there.
Yeah. And I wonder if they might try to get him in there because he's a little more mobile than Mac Jones too. And you've got, Will Anderson and company bearing down on you in this game. So that is an interesting angle on this. I don't think it really matters for me in which way I want to bet it. Like, I'm not sure I like one more than the other. I used to be a Brock Purdy skeptic, but he's kind of won me over time. So, but yeah, should we talk survivor picks?
Yeah, but before we jump into survivor picks, let me remind you guys of what's going on with Hard Rock Bet. The leaves are falling, the stakes are rising. We talk a lot of football this time of the year on BettingPros, but postseason baseball is here. Every swing could change the season. Step up to the plate and take your swing at Hard Rock Bet today. New customers can place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but also $150 in extra bonus bets. Plus, every day on Hard Rock Bet, you can get a profit boost for a postseason baseball parlay. There's new promos every day. Boost your same game parlay and SGP Max, so your bet pays extra winnings. There's new promos every day, so if you're listening to this later on, just open up the app and check out what you got on any day of the week. Check out the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app and make your first deposit. All right, so we have a bunch of options here when it comes to Survivor this week. Obviously, a bunch of teams, like you mentioned, are on a bye. but where do you think you should a player should go if they have the team available? Now, reminder, guys, we don't know what you have available, so we're just going to give you options for Survivor that we think you could use if that team is available to you on your Survivor pick team. Where are you this week?
I like the idea of using the Falcons, and that's not a team you can use confidently very often, but at home against this stumbling Dolphins team with Mike McDaniel basically being a dead man walking. I think that probably is the obvious play, Matt. Now, maybe the bigger layup on the board, the Colts.
Yeah, that's the number one pick.
Yeah, as 2 touchdown favorites over the Titans, and we've been kind of targeting the Titans in Survivor. It's just that the Colts now do seem like a legitimate top 10, if not top 5 team in the NFL. So maybe
I have them number 1.
Yeah, and I can't argue with that. With what
they're the best
shown.
team they're the best team in football, and I know everyone's going to run and say the Chiefs, but and look, KC played really well against the Raiders. The Raiders are garbage, and look at. I know everyone's going, how did the Patriots lose to the Raiders in Week 1? Fine, but it was Week 1. There's many games in Week 1 we're going to look back on and go, how did that happen? It's Week 1. It was a new coaching staff. It was a new offense. I mean, the Patriots just didn't play well, but look at the numbers are ridiculous. Daniel Jones is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL when he is pressured from a completion percentage. You blitz Daniel Jones, he kills you. It doesn't make any sense, but it's just what this guy has done. And a double-digit win against the Chargers, that was a message to me. That was, oh my. So, yeah, Colts, Titans, if you have it available and you want to burn the Colts, there's your play, right?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you want to save the Colts. That's the only thing I think that the Colts are a team I would much rather have to be able to pull out a little later in the season. Whereas the Falcons, this might be the last time you can use them confidently all year.
I'm with you. Yeah,
that's the case.
That's a great point.
Make for the Falcons.
And look at when it comes to Survivor contests, my opinion has always been get to Halloween and then worry about the path after that.
Yes.
Like you have to survive in Survivor, okay? And there are many people, even in the Circus Survivor here in Las Vegas or whatever, there are thousands of people who are out of that contest. 18,000 and we're down to 4. So like it's very difficult to get to this point in the season when it comes to Survivor because the first month and a half is so volatile. So if you are still alive, you can start to kind of look at a path and say, all right, I'm never going to use the Falcons again. Let's go Michael Penix. It's dangerous. I mean, I don't, from a Circus Survivor standpoint, am I putting $1,000 down on Michael Penix? Yikes. That's not really going to make me feel good about that. But no. I think you have to, if you're looking at where we are this week, Colts are the obvious, Falcons are the strategic. And then, I mean, maybe can you talk yourself into the Chiefs on Monday night? I mean, if you have Casey available, take them against the Commanders.
Especially if the Commanders aren't going to have Jaden Daniels. I could definitely be talked into that. The only thing is the Chiefs have this way of not squashing opponents they should squash. They just squashed an opponent they were supposed to squash, the Raiders. Are they going to do it twice in a row, or did they like fool around and make this a scarier game than it should be? I don't think so. And I do like those other two games more, but yeah, I could play the Chiefs and I wouldn't be too worried about it. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying if you are, just remember that if you are in the Circus Survivor, that the Chiefs and holidays, and you got to keep teams available for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so when you using Kansas City is a big question from a standpoint of if you are still alive in the big one, in the big Survivor for $18 million, always remember to look at Christmas and Thanksgiving. You got to have options available because those are extra weeks for that contest. So people haven't been using the Chiefs for that reason, but just depends on how you want to use Kansas City.
How do you feel about your Patriots at home, favored by a touchdown over the Browns?
I like it. I think they win. I think it's definitely an option. I'm always concerned because I am old enough to remember when the Patriots did not deal with attention and success very well. So maybe it's just the PTSD and scar tissue as a Patriot fan back pre-Brady, like what used to happen for the Patriots. But they're 5-2. I think the Patriots are a top 10 team in the NFL. I'm not sure I'm putting them top 5 yet, But Drake May is in the conversation for the MVP for a reason, and he just did something historic that Brady never did. 91.3% completion. Tom Brady never did that, and no one has ever done 91% completion, 200 plus passing yards, and 50 plus rushing yards in the same game. And that is what Matt, why am I going back to old Patriots? Sorry. Mac Jones. I want to call him Mac Jones half the time, but Drake May, what Drake May has been able to accomplish for the Patriots. So I don't mind it. I like it money line more than I do like laying the 7, because that defensive front for the Browns, the offensive line for the Patriots is a bit concerning against that defense for the Browns.
Yeah. My only problem, it's kind of the same thinking that I had with the Packers and the Steelers. Just as the Packers haven't played a real good game for 4 weeks, the Patriots haven't played a bad game for 3 or 4 weeks. And I always just wonder, the NFL it's the league of elasticity, Matt.
Yep.
And I always just live in fear of sort of the other shoe dropping. And when a team gets on these streaks, like, are they due for a good game, or are they due for a bad game? One more to throw at you, Matt. Would you dare take the Bengals over the Jets?
No,
me neither.
No,
obviously not. Since I'm betting the Jets, obviously I am not.
No. A team that's winless in the NFL at this point in the season, everyone's job is on the line.
Yep.
You have maximum buy-in. No one's making a business decision unless you think that the coach is going to get fired, and it's a first-year head coach in Aaron Glenn. And again, we already talked about it. I don't think he gets fired. So no, that's danger. I mean, that is, big ball pick. If you're taking that,
there are always the people who like to get cute in survivor pools. That's the cute pick for week 8.
Get you. Yeah, absolutely. Before we talk about who locks it in, guys, track your bets and stay accountable and level up by downloading the BettingPros app. With Sportsbook Sync, automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including picks, props, and parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. New users can get 6 months of BettingPros Premium for free with your first deposit and wager at one of our partner sportsbooks. To learn more, log on to bettingpros.com/premium. All right. So if you're locking in a bet right now on a Tuesday, which one is it?
I want to get the Falcons at -7 against the Dolphins before that goes up to 7.5. Hard Rock Bets had it this morning at Falcons -7, but -115 to take the Falcons. Yeah. I still grabbed it. Like I want that at 7, not 7.5. Alternatively, I also really like the under in this game at 44.5. Like the Falcons defense has been terrific. The Dolphins offense kind of wayward right now, except for Devon Achane, and the Falcons offense sort of a methodical, ball controlled offense. The Falcons had a 34-27 win over the Commanders in week 4. In their other 5 games, they've averaged 15.6 points.
Yeah. I mean, they had in their home games, they scored 24 against the Bills, 34 against the Commanders, and 20 against the Bucs. So that's my only concern here. If they get to 27 points, I don't know how many points they're going to give up, but I could see them giving up 17 or 20. And like, we're right there at the number. Like 27-20 final is very possible. That's why I want 7. And so we're right around that total of 44.5, where it's 1 touchdown difference between the game going over or under. But I do think you're right. I do think this is going to be a rock fight. I think this is going to be an under, but I'm with you on the 7. I mean, if it goes below 7, I like it even more. 7.5 gives me pause. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I want to be laying 2 scores here with the Falcons at home, but Miami's got talent, and indoors in a dome, first quarter is a little bit of like, we're going to find out a little bit how the Dolphins are going to approach this game and just how they're going to perform on the road in a dome on a quick track. They've got team speed, like there's no debate of it, but they have played so poorly in the second half. When they get behind, they just give up. So the hope is that the Falcons score early and then they just get run out of the building, and it's an easy win for the Falcons. So I think I'm more comfortable laying the 7, but I'm with you on the under.
Can I throw one more possible lock it in early pick at you? It's actually 2 in the same game, and I'm curious what you think about this. So as of now, the Ravens are 6.5-point home favorites over the Bears with a total of 50.5.
Yeah.
And the Ravens, coming off their bye, had a practice on Monday. Lamar Jackson was not at that practice. I think it's been assumed that he's coming back, and those numbers on this game suggest that it's assumed he's coming back. What if he doesn't come back? Do we feel good about the Ravens covering 6.5 if they do not have Lamar Jackson? Or do we feel good about this game getting over 50.5 points if the Ravens don't have Lamar Jackson?
I don't like it with Lamar Jackson.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure I like either bet even if Lamar plays.
Right.
I don't know what these Ravens are. I think everybody is just assuming that it's Harbaugh and Jackson, and so all of a sudden the bye week will fix everything. Maybe, but this is a team that has shown nothing on defense, and it's a team that on offense has looked disjointed and just not able to protect Lamar Jackson and not make plays that you would expect this offense to make. So the Ravens have a big black line through them for me. I'm not touching Ravens against or for until we figure out exactly what this team is. And without Lamar Jackson, forget it. That makes it even more of a play that I want nothing to do with. So, I mean, it's probably Bears or nothing for me. And from a total perspective, I don't know. Because Caleb he's just tough to figure out right now. Some games at home, he's tremendous. Some games on the road, he's a turnover machine. So that's a very hard game to bet in my mind. But I think you're right. If Lamar doesn't play, this number comes way down. Like we're talking like 3.5, 3 if Jackson's not playing.
Yeah, that's sort of my angle on it, that I think the Bears are a reasonable play at plus 6.5, even if Lamar does play. And if Lamar doesn't play, I would feel great about having the Bears plus 6.5.
Yeah, it's a good number. I mean, shoot, you get 7. I like it even more when coming up on that. So on that. Guys, before we go, remember that if you want to track all your wagers in one place, you can do so with BettingPros Pick Tracker. It syncs up with your sports books to tally your picks and which picks hit, which picks miss. Plus, it gives you a live look at what the public is doing, so you can use real-time tracking to determine which plays you want to make and which plays you want to fade. Track your picks today with the BettingPros Pick Tracker at bettingpros.com/tracking or on the BettingPros app. On the way out, Pat, any thoughts heading into week number 8? Anything you're looking for?
No, I think that's about it. We sort of had the brain dump on this, but there were more bets that I wanted to make early, Matt, in a 6-team bye week than I would have expected. And on our way out, I do have to ask you, anything you like in the World Series? Now that we have Toronto and the Dodgers, we know the matchup.
Gentlemen's sweep. Dodgers in 5.
Yeah.
I'm a baseball guy. I have been so bored by the American League. George Springer's home run was incredible. Like, it just feels so anticlimactic to me because I feel like we already have Biff's almanac and we already know what's going to happen in the World Series. I don't think this team, either team, Mariners or the Blue Jays, are going to be able to beat this Dodger team with the way that they're pitching. And Shohei Ohtani is the single greatest player of any sport of our lifetime. Shohei Ohtani is better than Tom Brady, sport-wise. Shohei Ohtani is doing things that no one has ever done in our lifetime. And he did something in game 4 that I'm not sure we'll ever see again. In the postseason, it was the single greatest postseason performance ever, with 6 1/3 innings worth of work, shutout ball, 2 hits, 10 Ks, and he went to the plate and hit 3 home runs. Like, there's only 10 guys in the history of the baseball playoffs that have done that as a position player. Only 26 pitchers all time have ever gone and had a performance of 6 innings and 10 Ks. Shohei did it both in the same game, and he's one guy.
Yeah.
I bless you, Toronto. Best of luck. 5 games.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, for Toronto to have any chance, you have to be able to get into that Dodger bullpen. And
Exactly.
The Brewers could not do it. The bullpen only had to throw a handful of innings in that entire series. And, but good luck doing that against Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow. It's just such a loaded pitching staff. Good luck.
I feel like Dave Roberts has finally figured it out that don't go to the bullpen. Just leave your guys out there. Forget the analytics. Just leave your starters. I mean, he let Yamamoto pitch a complete game. Like, you just don't see that. And granted, look at the Blue Jays lineup is way better than the Brewers lineup. Like, way better. And frankly, I mean, this is a top 5, $280 million payroll versus a bottom 10 payroll in Milwaukee. So I get the idea that the Blue Jays are a much better baseball team. And I understand that, I want the Blue Jays to win. If I'm picking what team am I pulling for, I want Toronto to win. I don't want to see this juggernaut keep rolling down the tracks and keeping, beating up on people like the Dodgers. But I one team has Ohtani, one team doesn't. It's kind of as easy as that for me when it comes to who I'm picking to win the World Series.
Can't argue with that.
Guys, thank you for being here. Remember, we're back every single Tuesday afternoon on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, hit like, and in the comment section, you can tell us where Pat and I are right or wrong, for that matter, here. We'll talk to you next week for week 9 of the Betting Pros NFL Early Look podcast here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel.